Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Man arrested for drug bust out on bail. Clergyman supports call for churches to help tackle mental health issues. And later in sports, Sunshine Girls confident of doing well in England. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here are the details. We begin with a TVJ News follow-up. Robert Constantine Chin, who has been charged in connection with Monday's multi-million-dollar drug bust at Norman Manley International Airport, was offered a $700,000 bail. He was offered bail following an application by his attorney Peter Champagny in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court this morning. He is to return to the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on February 10. Parish Court Judge Venice Blackstock Murray, prior to offering him bail on humanitarian grounds, took into consideration the fact that he requires dialysis treatment every other day. One clergyman is supporting the government's call for churches to assist in dealing with mental health issues in the country. More in this report. On Wednesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced a joint initiative with a church dubbed Heartware. It is aimed at addressing mental health issues in the country. Reverend Father Kingsley Asphalt is the pastor at the Holy Cross Catholic Church in St. Andrew. While welcoming the move, he urged caution.
And the church have to be careful how they interpret somebody who comes in to see them with concerning mental health. They have to be careful. It's going to be a very delicate issue because some churches are quick to, it's a demon possessed thing, and we have to be careful because we're dealing with people's life. We're dealing with people, how they think, how they feel, how they behave. We have to be careful how we deal because, sadly enough, we can destroy a person in the process.
Father Kingsley says he's hoping more details will be provided when the government meets with churches to discuss the plan.
If the churches lack the resources, is the government going to assist the churches? And is it going to be just churches, or is there going to be a selection process? We don't know. How is this going to happen? In my little corner here, do I just continue my own little program with the little resources that I have, or am I going to be invited to a larger pool, as you're mentioning? We don't know.
In the interim, Father Kingsley calls on churches to beef up counseling sessions and set up committees to look at individuals in need of intervention.
Churches can open their doors for persons to come. I'm probably thinking right now that I could ask even 5 persons from my own congregation to make themselves available so persons can call and just listen. A lot of people need somebody to listen to them, and we've been locked down for so long. Persons have gotten more aggressive. Society has gotten more aggressive. They just need a listening ear.
A man is dead after being hit by a motor vehicle along the Succeed Main Road in Christiana, Manchester on Thursday. He has been identified as Errol Lindsay, a 65-year-old mason. The incident happened around 8 Thursday night. The driver of the vehicle did not stop. 6 persons were taken to hospital Thursday evening after a 4-vehicle crash in Lacovia, St. Elizabeth. According to reports, sometime after 5 p.m., a Toyota bus was traveling from Santa Cruz to Black River when the accident happened.
Come down. And look why carry an overtake. And they both can touch him. And touching the other car where can turn over and come to.
The 4th car was driven by a police officer. The police are investigating. Residents in Austin, St. Elizabeth are raising concerns about a tree growing onto the main road in the area. They complain that it is causing a number of motor vehicle accidents. The tree, which is located close to the Austin Primary School, has been there for years. They point to the route, which is now blocking one of the lanes on the main road.
We wonder if we couldn't get some assistance to try to move this tree, what we can do to take away this tree, because the route is going across the road and it's very dangerous.
Yeah, we feel so if it cut down because the road tall lift up the road too tall, you know. So the vehicle go over it a touch. You really need to cut down, you know.
Councillor for the Marysville Division, Leighton Smith, says he's been unsuccessful in his attempts to address the problem.
I've reported it over 2 years now to NAA, and nothing has been done. And now NAA stopped coming to council meetings, so we have nobody else to report it to. Over the holiday weekend, 5 accidents took place right there. Persons coming up, I swing out of it and swing into a different vehicle. One man swing back on the whole and gas tank and everything on the bottom of the vehicle bus. It's a concern, it's a hazard, it's a death zone. And I'm calling upon the relevant authority, the Member of Parliament, to get involved. I just spoke to him about a while ago. NAA to remove the tree, remove the root and resurface the road.
The St. Mary Police are this afternoon appealing to persons to slow down on the nation's roads. The police say they will be relentless in their efforts to issue tickets in the new year. Details in this report. There were 642 motor vehicle crashes in St. Mary last year. 12 of that number resulted in fatalities. And there are already worrying signs that 2023 will not be different.
Slow down. On Sunday, we had our first accident. We had an accident since the start of the year. We had one in particular that, 14 persons were involved in 2 cars that crashed on Sunday. And based on our information, 3 up to yesterday, 3 were still in the hospital. So it is very, very critical that persons slow down.
Head of the St. Mary Police, Superintendent Bobette Morgan Simpson, says there are specific hotspots in the parish that is of concern to the police.
We recognize that our main areas for accidents, the Prospect area, along that stretch coming from Ocho Rios coming in or going towards Ocho Rios. That stretch into, from Prospect into Aracabessa or vice versa, coming along the stretch, the wilderness stretch coming in. We have a problem, a challenge along that corridor coming from Prospect coming through. We also have a challenge in the Anota Bay area where that Itabo main road. We have also found that we have a number of accidents on in that space.
And she says a number of tickets were issued in 2022.
We just want to, bad overtaking, reckless, and the real reckless driving, that's a part of the whole package. And, persons are ignoring stop signs, ignoring different issues. We don't have any traffic light in St. Mary, but we know that generally speaking, persons will ignore some of the things that we're supposed to really pay attention to. So we recognize that. We have had our challenges, but we have also had our successes. And successes are not necessarily some of the things that you can actually touch, you can hold, or you can really pinpoint. But what we do know is that we would have made such great difference in many persons' lives in the parish, because we get calls and requests for assistance for so many different matters that you would never believe.
Persons with defective vehicles or bad tires are also being warned. When it comes to money literacy, many of us are still unaware of how to properly use our income. So with a little help, our reporter Cody and Bart sought some tips on the way forward.
Jamaica. It's time Jamaica, it's time to get smart with money. It's a new year, and whether or not money management was a part of your New Year's resolution, if you haven't already started planning, the time to start is now. There are so many different things we should be doing with our money, but before we jump ahead of ourselves, where should we start? I spoke with a budget coach who gave some tips on what you should be doing when you get your first paycheck this month. The first step to money management is budgeting. According to CEO of Budget Leaf, Karen Clark, curbing bad spending and saving money every month will help you to master your money in the new year. And her number one budgeting tip is to track your expenses.
Every single day, every single dollar that you spend, write it down. Track your expenses, because the truth is, for you to create the ideal budget for your ideal lifestyle, you first need to know where your money is going. How much are you spending on food? How often are you eating out? What is your impulse urges, right? So in order for you to know all of this, you have to track your expenses.
To help with tracking, Budget Leaf created a 3-month tracker, a small book to guide you along your financial journey. If you're looking to create a personal budget, start with these 6 steps. 1. Calculate your income. 2. Track your spending. 3. Set realistic goals. 4. Make a plan. 5. Adjust your spending to stay on the budget. And 6. Review your budget regularly. So to recap, physically write down a list of your expenses for the month and stick to it. Join me next week for more tips on how to get smart with your money.
Thank you, Codian. It's now time for the Business Minute.
Paternity leave with pay for fathers of newborns in the public sector and adoption leave for parents adopting and bringing a new child into the home is now in effect. And the first Jamaican private sector organization to adopt the policy into their human resource plan for 2023 is Massey Distribution. Massey Distribution's policy change took effect on January 1. Under Massey's new policy, fathers will benefit from 25 paid working days of leave, 5 more than announced by the Minister of Finance, Dr. Nigel Clark, for fathers employed in the public sector. In business overseas, the U.S. economy maintained a strong pace of job growth in December. Employers added 223,000 positions, pushing the jobless rate down to 3.5% from 3.6% in November. The resilience of the labor market has raised hopes that the world's largest economy will avoid a severe economic downturn this year. The U.S. Central Bank is raising borrowing costs to try to cool the economy and ease the price pressures, but hiring has held up despite the weight of higher interest rates. And this Sunday, we take a look at fusing art with modern technology through the use of augmented reality. Can it attract capital? We find out in the Business Review. That's it for the Business Minute. I'm Codian Barrett.
Now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Guyana is the first CARICOM country to impose new entry requirements for travelers coming from China. Officials say in order to decrease the chance of entry of a novel variant, a requirement of a negative COVID-19 test from Chinese passengers is required. This comes days after the United States and the United Kingdom have also announced stricter measures for Chinese passengers. On the international scene, China has eased its medical treatment measures for the COVID-19 virus. The move comes a few days ahead of January 8, when it will drop its quarantine requirements for international arrivals and scrap a number of COVID-19 restrictions. Chinese officials say it will also allow those who test positive for the disease to receive care at home and stop requiring COVID-19 patients to have a negative antigen test result in order to be released from hospitals. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Codian Barrett.
We head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report with Jermaine Brown.